Welcome back to Drawlords, where we make all sorts of D&D builds. Today's build being the epitome of a shoot and stab type build, meaning this character wants to get up close and personal to shoot point blank with their crossbow and then stab you with a dagger, all while dodging and weaving attacks. There are three things I want this character to achieve. First, they have to be able to shoot in melee effectively. Second, they should be able to attack many times in a single turn, having a high damage output. And third, they have to be able to survive in melee combat without high HP or heavy armour, neither fitting the fantasy I want to create. Step 1 is quite easy. We need to take the crossbow expert feat as soon as possible. The best way being to take human variant for this feat at level 1, otherwise you can take it from 4th level. This allows us to ignore the normal disadvantage placed upon range attacks within melee and the loading property of crossbows, which allows step 2 to be possible. It also allows us to use a bonus action to attack with the hand crossbow you're holding when you use the attack action and attack with another one-handed weapon. This can be very useful early, however in the mid-levels we will be using our bonus action for more useful things. Now onto the classes. Initially we are starting in Monk up to level 3 to get way of the Kensai Monk, because this allows you to choose one melee and one ranged weapon to use as monk weapons, meaning you can use monk features with your crossbow. This means you can actually use a rapier as well instead of just a dagger to again increase your damage output. The only limitation on these weapons being that they lack the heavy and special properties. Until you get this feature, you're going to be stabbing with your dagger and then using crossbow expert bonus action attack or the odd flurry of blows, as daggers do count as monk weapons because they are simple weapons. From this point, you're going to multi-class into Warlock. This may seem odd, but it does give us access to some really valuable defensive and utility spells, such as Armour of Agathis and Shield from the Hexblade extended spell list. Hexblade additionally gives us access to Hexblade's Curse, meaning we crit on a 19 against one target that can be transferred at later levels. We also gain the ability to use our Charisma for attacks with a packed weapon, and be able to summon a weapon. Taking the improved packed weapon invocation gives our packed weapon a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls, and allows us to use a short bow, longbow, light crossbow or heavy crossbow. We are going to be using the light crossbow because it works with all the features in this build, especially for Monk. Next we're going to take 2 more levels in Warlock to give us access to the invocation's Eldritch Smite for extra burst damage and Thirsting Blade for multiple attacks, and then the final 2 necessary levels back into Monk to get extra attack. This gives us access to our full combo of attacks. How this works is you start off by cursing your target to add your proficiency bonus to damage and so that you crit on a 19. Then you'll take 2 attacks with your packed weapon crossbow, 1 normal attack and then 1 from the Thirsting Blade feature, remembering to use your Charisma and your +1 bonuses for this. And then you're going to take your extra attack with your Rapier monk weapon, and then because all these attacks are using monk weapons due to Kensai, you can then make a free bonus action Unarmed Strike, which is 1d6 at 5th level monk, or you can expend a key point to make 2 unarmed attacks as a bonus action. In total that's 4 or 5 attacks, or 3 attacks to keep your bonus action free to either disengage, dodge or dash. That is the base build that culminates at 10th level. Now I will roll through some useful feats, stat spreads and extra ideas. First, here are my suggested level 1 stat spreads on the screen now. On the left we have a point buy system, and on the right we have the standard array. Feel free to pause here to take a note, and also you can roll for stats. I enjoy doing that, but keep these in mind. As for notable feats, Mobile comes to mind as such a nimble and acrobatic character, because this gives us extra movement and the nice ability to ignore opportunity attacks from creatures you've attacked that turn. Otherwise, Medium Armor Master might be useful if your unarmed defense AC is too low. My final idea for this build is the possibility of a Swashbuckler Rogue 3-level dip to give us access to sneak attack and essentially the opportunity attack part of the mobile feat. Additionally, Swashbuckler allows us to use sneak attack within 5 feet, pairing excellently with both Eldritch Smite and Hexblade's Curse for some insane damage numbers when you crit especially. Finally, the Swashbuckler lets us add our Charisma modifier to our initiative bonus, so we're always going to be moving quickly. If you want to add even more to your initiative, Alert's always nice to give you a flat +5 on top of your dex and, in this case, Charisma. With that, you now have all the tools to play an incredibly fun hit and run playstyle. This build's cinematic moment is, if you would like to imagine for a moment, a lone figure surrounded by foes. They look up, summoning a demon crossbow and drawing their rapier before unleashing a barrage of attacks, spinning around and shooting or stabbing at each enemy, each shot perfectly placed, each enemy's attack dodged proficiently. When it seems they're about to be overwhelmed, they blink to another position at a run, repositioning to continue their barrage. And there we have the finished artworks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.